Tonight on CTV News, police continue their investigation into 3 violent robberies. Christchurch Airport goes from strength to strength, and it's happier motorists at the pumps as petrol prices drop. Kia ora, good evening. A man has been arrested after police seized drugs and firearms from a rural Timaru address. The 42-year-old man will appear in Timaru District Court on a number of drug and firearm-related charges. The Armed Defenders Squad was used as a precaution to secure the property, where a number of items were seized, including cannabis, methamphetamine, a large amount of cash and 2 firearms. The man is set to appear in court tomorrow. Well, to today's other news now, a telco giant's back in Christchurch with a multi-million-dollar project to help startups. Imogen McLennan has more.
There's good news for entrepreneurs. Vodafone is running a global startup accelerator program, and today it launched in Christchurch. The program aims to help 10 New Zealanders turn their digital ideas into successful businesses.
So this is about us finding 10 high potential entrepreneurs with amazing sort of digital startups and really helping them build their businesses here and then ideally take their businesses to the world.
The program has already launched in the UK, Spain, Germany, the Netherlands, Egypt and Italy. But bringing it to Christchurch was an obvious choice for the company.
We were here straight after the earthquake and we really wanted to continue that journey. Obviously we're building our new building, which we're very proud of, at the centre of the innovation precinct. And really this is about taking the next step, which is to be an active part of the innovation community.
The program will give 10 entrepreneurs the mentoring and leverage to get their businesses off the ground. Each will be given space and help in the Vodafone building as they work on their ideas, as well as seed funding of $25,000, bringing the total package worth up to $150,000 per person. This was achieved with help from the likes of Callaghan Innovation, a government agency which is backing the project.
We see this as an important addition to the New Zealand innovation ecosystem. So this is a chance for New Zealand companies to come and try and do product development and try out new, leading edge technology. So that's why we are doing this.
Applications to the program opened today, with the first received before the program was even officially launched. They are open until the 15th of February.
We will be going through their applications with an advisory board where we're looking for the real potential, that sort of X factor of what they can do. Once they've got through that process, we'll choose the 10 most potential ones and we'll start the program next April as we open the building here in Christchurch.
So if you've got a startup idea or just need some help getting your new business off the ground, this could be for you. Imogen McLennan, CTV News.
Police are not ruling out whether 3 violent robberies in the city could be linked with the incidents occurring over the past fortnight. Andrew King reports.
Police in Christchurch are on high alert again today, searching for a group of men after the latest robbery in the city. 4 men burst into a sleepout in a Hei residence on Monday night, demanding cash and drugs before fleeing in a Ford Focus they stole from the property. It follows the robbery of 2 security guard vans at McDonald's Christchurch Airport branch 11 days ago, and the hold-up of the Phoenix Bar and Cafe in Papanui on Sunday night. A shot was fired by one of the robbers during the hold-up. No one was injured.
It is too soon to tell whether this incident is related to the aggravated robbery on Sunday the 6th of December at the Phoenix Bar, where a firearm was used. However, we are keeping an open mind on whether they are linked.
People who live in the Hei street where last night's attack took place wouldn't appear on camera, but one told CTV News that he heard what he thought was a loud explosion around the same time the robbery took place. Police were back at the Gregory Ave property today making more inquiries. They have no evidence that the robbery is related to the proliferation of motorcycle gangs in Christchurch. Police are appealing for sightings of the stolen 2003 Ford Focus with the registration BSA 410. Andrew King, CTV News.
A new joint committee to oversee Greater Christchurch's public transport could be set up next year. A report recommends Environment Canterbury share its responsibility for public transport with the City Council, as well as the Samhain and Waimakariri districts. Each council will decide over the next 3 months whether to agree to establish the committee. Well, Christchurch Airport heading towards a record summer with more passengers entering the region. It comes as more airlines continue to sign up to fly into the city. Christchurch International Airport could be flying its way into the record books, with more and more passengers entering the region.
So the airport's added about 770,000 airline seats over the last 12 months, and we expect that to drive our passenger numbers from about 5.9 million last year to around 6.4 million this year.
That's likely to see a 20% growth rate for the month of February next year, one of the highest numbers the airport has ever had.
It's an astounding number, to be honest. It's a number that you don't see very often, but it reflects a lot of hard work. You've got to remember we lost 500,000 passengers a year after the earthquake. We were on 6 million passengers a year before the earthquake. We'll do 6.4 million passengers a year this year.
The Christchurch International Airport has been busy over the last year, welcoming more and more carriers to the South Island, including China's Southern Airlines, who will travel 3 times a week all year round. And with more flights comes more growth for the region. The increased passenger numbers will also drive close to $150 million more into the local economy.
It's not so much the question of how much more can we take, it's the question of how much of it does Christchurch want. So 76% of the people, international passengers who arrive into Christchurch Airport, the South Island can handle a lot more capacity, particularly in the regions. And our focus over the last 12 months has been to convince international travel sellers to spread tourists around more regions of the South Island.
But the airport hopes to see passenger growth continuing in years to come.
We've got good reason to be ambitious over the coming years. The city is in recovery mode. We had 4,000 hotel rooms the last time we did 6 million passengers a year. We've got 2,200 hotel rooms this year. There's a lot of room for growth and a lot of room to be optimistic, I think.
They hope their success will continue to thrive, attracting more airlines from Australia and Asia. Well, still to come, Fraser's here with your neighbourhood news. Welcome back to CTV News. It was smiling faces for motorists today as petrol prices drop. Imogen McLennan has more.
Petrol prices are down another 2 cents per litre today, just in time for Christmas. Most service stations in Christchurch are now selling at just under $1.90 per litre. Customers were lining up at the Challenge station in Horswell today, taking advantage of their cheaper fill-up prices.
I've been to Craft today. I'd normally come straight home, but because I saw the prices were down, I decided to cruise around where we used to live, because we used to live on the other side of town.
The lower prices are partially due to a slight strengthening of the New Zealand dollar, which is back over US 67 cents for the first time in a month. Further reductions in commodity prices have also influenced the change. Imogen McLennan, CTV News.
Beautification Works well underway in Riccarton after plans were made to turn a rough section of land into a patch of wildflowers. Georgia O'Connor-Harding reports.
There was a flurry of activity down at the western side of the railway line near Nancy's Corner today. Community members have been clearing sections of grass and planting them with seeds.
Basically, it will reduce the carbon ratings. They reduce the carbon ratings quite significantly, particularly the blue ones as I understand it. And they track butterflies and bees and just, you know, the colour that it will attract.
The Christchurch City Council, student volunteer army and residents have been pitching in a hand to help make the area more beautiful, a real team effort. Planting flowers is not the only change to be made. There are also plans to transform the entire wall on the back of 35 Riccarton building into a colourful blend of street art.
Yes, I look at doing the whole building, bringing across really top artists. So there will be these murals right to the top, and this will look absolutely fantastic. It looks stunning. This pathway is going to become extended and become a cycleway and a pedestrian crossing. So it's going to go right through. So this will be, potentially a really good area to look at. And the support has been absolutely wonderful.
Many from both the community and overseas have been inspired by the project, seeing it as another step forward to redeveloping the city.
Seeing the innovation and the response and the resilience of humanity is pretty profound, and I think that's something that Christchurch has not only taught the world in the days of the recovery and response phase, but it's something they're continually teaching the world now.
But there's still a long way to go before the job's complete. Georgia O'Connor-Harding, CTV News.
Street art has graced the city since the earthquakes, and now an art exhibition's back for another year, with Spectrum opening its doors to the public this weekend. The final touches are going on around the central city, welcoming the second Spectrum show, with many street arts making a building wall a masterpiece.
We've been here since the end of August building the show, so it's a 3.5-month build, and yeah, we're on track, but we always will have a hectic last 48 hours. There won't be much sleeping goes on.
But it's not just the city streets getting a makeover. The Hereford site is in full force once again, sharing some of their projects for the public to see.
We've played with the perspectives idea a lot this year. We've set up 4 huge sheets of perspex and offset them, and they're spaced apart, so he's going to paint those. So from one angle they look like a complete picture, but it'll get broken up and you walk through the sheets of perspex.
Earlier this year, Spectrum made its debut in Christchurch, showcasing headlining street artists from here and around the world. That doesn't change this time round either.
Telmo and Meal, who are working behind us here, who the Dutch government have helped fund, come over. We've got the French government have helped fund Seth come over, amazing artist from Paris. And then we've got Vexter, who's arguably the foremost female street artist from Australia, who's New York based, and she's come over and she's painting amazing stuff inside the space and outside on the streets as well.
The season's set to open to the public on Saturday, on display through to April. Now let's cross to Fraser Walker-Pearce in the newsroom with what's happening in your neighbourhood.
Thanks, Jared. Trees and shrubs growing out of Sydenham Cemetery graves can't be removed without the consent from the families of those graves affected. The issue was raised as part of public consultation for a replanting plan for the cemetery and neighbouring Summerfield Park. But the Spraydon Heathcote Community Board decided it was too hard to tell if the trees had self-seeded or been planted by the families. Chairman Paul McMahon says the issue has to be dealt with sensitively. He says if families wanted them removed, they would have to get in touch with the council. Lowland streams feeding into Lake Ellesmere are in poor health due to low flows. Environment Canterbury says the lack of flow and winter flooding means large amounts of aquatic plants and algae are growing in streams. Rainfall in October in the Central Plains was 9 millimetres, the lowest October total on record. A public health warning was issued last week after potentially toxic blue-green algae were found in Selwyn River at the White Cliffs Domain. Mandatory water restrictions are now in force for properties connected to Selwyn District Council water supplies. Under the restrictions, watering of lawns is permitted between 9 AM and 4 PM and 9 PM and 6 AM on alternate days only. If your street address number is even, then watering is permitted only on even numbered days, such as December 8. If your street address number is an odd number, then watering is permitted only on odd numbered days, such as December 9. Garden watering is permitted at any time. If demand for water is particularly high, water pressure will be reduced to sustain the supply. Vehicle break-ins are on the rise in the Riccarton area. Riccarton Community Watch has been asked by the police to beef up their monitoring in surrounding areas due to an increase of vehicle thefts. Group security Jeff Parfitt says people need to ensure valuables are right out of sight. He says due to the hot weather, people were opting to have their car windows down, making it easy for opportunist thefts to break in and steal things. They're advising to always lock your doors and close all windows, including sunroofs. The trend of moving west is taking its toll on families in Hornby. The Salvation Army says about 374 Hornby families have sought help over the past 3 months for food parcels. They say the strain on families is due to an increasing trend of families moving west who are struggling with moving costs. After the February 2011 earthquake, the central city was gutted of about 50,000 workers who moved to new employment hotspots of Middleton, Hornby and Addington. Data shows families moved west to be closer with their new workplaces. The Salvation Army says Christmas was beginning to bite on families and sought donations for its Gift of Hope campaign to help them through the Christmas period. From the newsroom, I'm Fraser Walker-Pearce.
Thanks for that, Fraser. We're still to come here on CTV News, local sport and your region's weather forecast. Welcome back to CTV News. Now here's Gordon Finlater with the latest in local sport.
Well, leading with motorsport tonight, and Christchurch's James Munro will embark on an exciting journey tomorrow when he jets off to Malaysia. After a successful single-seater racing career to date, the 18-year-old will now try his hand in the Sepang 12-hour endurance race this weekend.
Yeah, I'm super excited to do my first big endurance race with the 12-hour. It's going to be really challenging with the heat and the speeds that we'll be doing and the forces that I'm going to experience, but I think it's going to be really good fun.
Munro will drive a Lamborghini Huracan at the event, earning his place in the team after taking out last year's Formula Masters series, which is seen as the breeding ground for the top young Asia-Pacific drivers.
It was very good, the exposure I got from the championship here and over there as well. It was really cool. Some of the races you'd have like tens of thousands of spectators in the stand, which was a really cool experience and got some really good exposure.
The next series Munro will look to add to his CV will be on home soil, competing in the Toyota Racing Series, a competition that has produced some of this country's top drivers.
It's always tough, hard to win, but it's a really good experience and it makes you a better driver and will stand me in good stead, hopefully, for what I go into after that.
And those future plans are exciting for Munro, who will look to follow in the footsteps of Kiwi racing legend Scott Dixon and crack the American market.
My ultimate goal is to race in the IndyCar Championship. I've recently been over and completed my first test actually over in the US in the USF 2000 class, and that went very well. So I'm aiming to race there next year, and that's the first step on the road to Indy. So there's 3 categories, and I'm hoping that will ultimately take me to IndyCar.
Making the big break is no easy task in motorsport, with financial means playing a big part in opportunities. However, being a driver from this part of the globe comes with its advantages.
We've had a lot of success recently with the likes of Brendan Hartley, Earl Bamber, Mitch Evans. There's a big list of guys over in Europe, Asia, America with Scott Dixon, and Australia as well, all doing very well. So Kiwis have a really good reputation, and it helps a lot because you go to a team and they already kind of want you there.
And here's hoping that the local lad can become the next big name in New Zealand motorsport. And finally tonight, the South Island's top primary school surfers were in town over the weekend. Here's Fraser Walker-Pearce.
Chisnellwood intermediate pupil Jai Oakley was crowned one of the best young surfers in the South Island on Saturday. The South Island Primary School Surfing Champs was held on North Beach and was hosted by the North Wye Board Riders Club. This year's competition was the club's 12th event and its biggest yet, with 11 schools being represented from around the country. 2 to 3 foot waves were present on the 25-degree day, making the conditions perfect for a long day's surfing. Jai, a Year 7 pupil, took part in both the Year 7 and 8 boys competitions, which saw all 4 top seeds qualify for the final rounds. The 12-year-old Gromit took to the waves for both Year 7 and 8 boys finals and faced stern competitions from the likes of up-and-coming surfers Mika Black and James Miller. But Jai was too good for both of them and went on to win both categories. He was also awarded the James Ritchie Memorial Trophy at the competition's prize giving. This meant the young star walked away with a trophy, a new wetsuit and a new shortboard. Fraser Walker-Pearce, CTV News.
Great stuff. Well, you're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Finlater for CTV Sport.
Thanks for that, Gordon. Now here's Mercy with your region's weather forecast.
Thanks, Jared. Well, today we saw sunny skies out there, however there were a few clouds in the mix as well and fresh southerlies for some. Today's highs first up, Timaru, Temuka and Geraldine all took out 17 degrees today. Looking to central Canterbury now, a little bit warmer for Christchurch and Darfield on 21 degrees. Akaroa, you saw 18 and 19 there for Leeston, Methven and Ashburton. Heading further north now, pleasant Tuesday for you guys. 18 was the high for Kaikoura and Cheviot, 19 there for Hanmer Springs and Culverden, and a little bit warmer for Amberley and Rangiora on 21. The Alpine region, 15 for Mount Cook, 16 for Lake Tekapo and 17 for Arthur's Pass. Gotta love those consecutive highs. Looking ahead for you, Timaru, lovely sunshine there, bit of cloudy skies. First up though, northeasterly winds and 20 degrees for your high. Ashburton, you can expect that cloudy start too, but those clouds will be burning off during the day. 22 degrees for your high there and northeasterly winds. Could be a few drizzle patches that will cease by around the 9 AM mark for you, Christchurch. Your high during the day is 20 and beautiful blue skies overhead. Blue for you, Kaikoura, with that sun definitely out and about, 19 degrees there, but a few spots of rain before 10 AM for you. Looking ahead for South Canterbury, your Wednesday is seeing northerly winds for everyone here, 20 degrees for Temuka. Central Canterbury also seeing those temperatures in the early 20s there, 21 for Darfield and Methven, 20 degrees for Leeston and 19 for Akaroa. Heading further north now, also seeing those northerly winds, could be a bit of a cloudy patch and a drizzle patch here and there in the morning, but that'll be clearing off. 23 is the high there for Hanmer Springs, and you're actually taking out the region's high along with Twizel. And over to the mountain ranges, northwesterly winds for everyone here, and also expecting sunshine. Checking out the upcoming days though, Thursday, northwesterly, that northwesterly airflow, it's back and it's bringing those temperatures climbing up there on 28 degrees for Ashburton and Christchurch. Flipping over to Friday, also seeing a lovely sunny day, not quite as warm as Thursday, but still pretty good, 24 degrees for Ashburton there. On Thursday, everyone is expecting a dry fine day apart from you guys. So a bit of rain there for Lake Tekapo and Mount Cook and Arthur's Pass, unfortunately. Heavy falls coming your way. Beautiful warm temperatures though. On Friday, we're seeing a bit of cloud in the morning and evening. Sunshine during that day though, with northeasterlies freshening the afternoon for coastal areas and northerlies for inland places. Over the next few days, we are expecting that sunshine tomorrow. Could be a little bit cloudy and a little bit of rain here and there first up, but that'll be clearing off. On Thursday, expect those really warm temperatures back again. That's your update for Tuesday. Back to you, Jared.
Thanks for that, Mercy, and that's CTV News for tonight. You can find all our stories and bulletins on demand at ctv.co.nz. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jared McCulloch. Have a great evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.